if I just wait a bit here for Rocket to get past me, and then wait a bit.
Welcome everybody to the stream. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Let's get this kicked off. Good morning. What a wild start, shall we say, to the trading session. You're in the newsroom right now. As we're starting our live stream, we'll hop here into the markets momentarily. Take a couple look at some of these macro reports that dropped. We did get GDP numbers. A couple of things that happened. We had the Bank of Japan said to consider measures to reduce government bond purchases. That was in the news. We had our advanced GDP price index. We had quarter numbers. We had our annualized numbers, 1.6% versus 2.5 estimate. We also had our initial jobless claims coming in at 270K versus 215. The market's response to all of this is, well, not too well. We also had some news out of Russia, reportedly warns that Kazakhstan oil transits to Germany risk over service payment. All kinds of different stuff. We had Turkey Central Bank. They left their one-week repo rate unchanged. That was as expected. We also had, obviously, the Meta earnings, which is on everyone's radar, hitting a 2 standard deviation move. Holy macaronis. We'll be pulling up those charts today. And on top of all of that, we have some big earnings after the bell today, of which is a Microsoft. We have Google, we have Capital One Financial, we have Snapchat, we have many more. So we're going to have to cover a lot of this stuff in today's trading session. So let's go ahead and hop into the markets.
Trade the news.
Hello and welcome back. Okay, we're going to start here taking a look at the book map, and then we'll get into more specifically some expected moves that were planned for the day. And then, yeah, if you guys have any questions, we'll pull up tickers and so forth. Market's getting a little bit of a rebound today. As far as interesting levels go here on Bookmap, there is one down far beneath us, over 2,000 contracts. Let me get my little marker out here. Way down here, 49.62, 2,000 contracts. The longer this stays here, the more likely it is to get filled at some point. Is that going to be today? I don't know. We'll take a look at market net flow to see if it's quite bearish. It looked very thin overall, but that's the book map. As far as NQ goes for the day, we are getting some volatility. We got outside of the opening range, right? So we started with a pretty big gap down off the back of Meta earnings, but not only Meta earnings, the GDP numbers. And so far we started outside of the opening range and we're coming in slightly here. As far as 0-date levels go for the S&P 500, we have quite a bit of exposure down there at 5,000, and you can see we've bounced from that level since. We have overhead 50.25 and above us there at 50.50. This is the potential range for the day. Beneath us even further, we have local support at 49.75. That's the current. As far as market net flow goes, it's been a bearish divergence, but it's been fairly thin overall. Both lines are above zero, the cumulative net premiums of calls and puts. Okay, and we don't have convergence right now, which means you can have counter trend moves of the divergence, so the market can kind of put up or it can just chop around. All right, let's take a look at the 0 date, see if anything's changed here. Yeah, still 5,000, 50, 25, and then 50, 50 are the main levels there.
Call just saying they're seeing strong demand growth from autos and data centers as well as chips.
S&P 500. So one of the things that I was paying attention for in yesterday's trading session is to see if we could get a pullback into the lower daily expected move and the 5-day moving average, as well as the swing low anchored VWAP and the week to date. And we did not get down there. So I didn't execute a trade. We saw a little bit of a bounce back outside of the weekly expected move. And then today we started with a gap down underneath all those levels. So as it stands right now for me, I just put pause to the markets and I wait this out. When it's below the 5-day moving average, it is bearish, especially when it's declining. If it was inclining, I'd say it's bearish, but with caution. Okay, but right now it's more neutral and price is below it. I'm going to update these daily expected moves right now. And I'm going to read some of the chat coming through. All right, the daily expected move, the lower daily expected move, which I'm sure we've busted through today. 501.76. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the upper expected move, and we'll get the 2 standard deviation moves too as well. 509.06. So as you can see, we started way outside of the daily expected move. The market was wrong in pricing in its risk for the day, but it's still correct as far as pricing its risk for the week, as we are underneath the weekly expected move, the upper one, and we're above the lower weekly expected move there. As far as the 2 standard deviation moves, I'm going to go ahead and actually, I'm just going to grab this. Properties, and we're going to go ahead and put the lower 2 standard deviation move is at 498.11, which is right kind of where price is at. So I'm going to go ahead and make this pink, easier to see. Yo, pinky, there we go. Now, 2 standard deviation moves, if you think of this in terms of a distribution curve, right, 68% of the time it'll close within the regular standard deviation of what the market priced in. And now we have a 2 standard deviation move, which is 2 times the regular standard deviation. And we're floating right in and around there. And there's 95% probability, right, that we close above that. That's just in terms of probabilities and so forth. Okay. Now, if we start to move up, just keep in mind, now we're below the swing low anchored VWAP. That can hold as potential resistance. We're below the week to date. That can hold now as potential resistance. And we're below the 5-day moving average. Let's pull up some of these charts here. Of which is Meta. So Meta reported, and I mean, this on all the live streams, this is what I say why I don't trade earnings, is because even if I had the earnings report in front of me, I still wouldn't know what to do. Like, look at Tesla. Tesla reported pretty bad earnings, and yet it took it up. Okay, so it could be just an oversold condition, and traders went long, right, or whatever the case is. And then Meta has good earnings, wide guidance, but good earnings, and the market takes it down 2 standard deviations. Whoa, it's like this is why you got to kind of just step away from some of these things, because you kind of give up your edge. Okay, so this line right here is the expected move for earnings at 450. So we cleared way outside of that, basically 2 standard deviation moves if you're looking at the overnight session. And since then, we bounced a little bit back into it. We're coming off slightly here, okay? You can see on the, I think the low, yeah, it was 399. 399 was the low during the trading session on the report of earnings, and 399 is literally right over here, basically where the last earnings report was. So we're just leaving all this up here. So I don't know. People probably start talking about a island reversal pattern. We'll see. Now, as far as the as far as the heat map goes for the day, NVIDIA is actually up on the day. Semis are up on the day, AVGO. But you see there's a lot of red on the screen. It's almost a full-blown correlation, but we have a couple big names holding this market up. So if I go into the S&P 100, You have almost a full-blown correlation to the downside, which if you're looking for capitulation in any short, in any manner, you would want to see full-blown correlation and a lot of volume. And that could be the starts of capitulation to the downside. It's a little too early to tell, especially that we have, we're just now kicking off the biggest earnings day, and we just had one of the largest market cap names report here just at the prior session. Okay, let's take a look at some of these intermarket assets, and we'll get into some of these tickers, and I'll read the chat. See what's good. But first, let me sip some coffee. Oh yeah, that's the coffee. That's the good stuff. Okay. All right, what are we doing? Let's look at some of these market assets. So on the news, we've had quite a big move in some yields, as I'm sure all of you are well aware, and copper. So copper, nice big move, a new high for 2024. Copper continues to press higher. This you get, worse than expected GDP. You have inflationary assets going up. We everything just reeks of reflation or stagflation, reflation, stagflation. Inflation increasing. This is just an interesting time to be watching these markets. It's a time to be very, very cautious as we're getting quite a bit of volatility. So copper continues to go up, and this could very well be a good indication that inflation is going to get and continue to be more stickier. And then you look at the 10-year yield, 10-year yield's breaking to a new high for 2024 as well. And the thing is here, if you look at like the month-to-date column, the week-to-date column over here, right? We showed this in the prior stock market brief show. The 10-year yield's up, right? The dollar is up on, it's right here, right? When you have these assets up, it's putting pressure on pretty much a lot of the market, right? And the flip was true when they started going down. And that's one of the things we've been paying attention to. So you have the 10-year yield breaking to new high there for 2024. Even the 2-year yield's making a move. Silver's catching a little bit of a bid here too as well. Gold's catching another bid here too as well after seeing a decent sell-off there, decent consolidation. Semiconductors is holding up rather well. NVIDIA, I want to pull up NVIDIA. Now NVIDIA, we're just still, we're just trading. I get it that it's up on the day, but we're really, what is going on here? NVIDIA is just trading with inside this trading candle still.
President Putin of Russia indicating he plans to visit China in May.
Okay, so on NVIDIA's big break, that big day with big volume, since then, we've bounced 2 days up. People get excited for the recovery. We reversed it on bigger volume again. So we gapped up and closed down. And now we're seeing a little bit move up here, all trading within this candle. So we haven't even seen a decisive break above it and or below it. It's literally, it's just consolidating. So yeah, NVIDIA's up on the day, but more context
TikTok denying media reports to that effect
helps out to see the bigger picture. Okay. Dollar's down slightly on the day, but dollar is also could be considered just consolidating here. Let's take a look at the S&P 500, 11 sectors. So out of the 11 sectors that make up the S&P 500, the one that's leading the way right now, still down on the day, is materials. Beneath that is energy. Materials is one that I am actually interested in trading. The reason why is because of how it's setting up from an absolute perspective. This is one that I put out on a trade idea yesterday on Discord. But if you take a look at materials, we saw a big move and we're seeing a consolidation here, and price action is getting very tight. We're below an inclining 50-day. So, I would say the trend is still up here on the medium term. and the longer term as the 200 still inclining. The shorter term is obviously turning because we're pulling in, and price is getting very tight here. So break below these lows maybe needs more time. But in the bigger scheme, bigger picture here, I'm looking at price actions pulling in for a couple of weeks, but it made a pretty big breakout here. So I would say you'd want it to hold, maybe even test these levels and still continue to watch to see if things can turn up or if it turns up here a little bit earlier. Okay, that's one of the sectors that I find of interest. Energy is obviously one of interest too as well. This one's made a pretty large run. It's one of the top performing sectors, I believe, from a year-to-date basis as well. Oops, what did I just lose? What is going on? XL, I just literally deleted some of my sectors. Oh gosh, man, think or swim sometimes. Think or swim. Clearly it's swimming and not thinking. Ah! All right, let's take a look here at chat. Good morning, everybody. We got a lot of good mornings in here. What's up, Dijan? What's up, Tony? What's up, Trader? What's up, Andre? What's up, CEO? Super Beef Patty, 69 Conquer. FT Traders in the house. Palm Tree. Dead Neds. Laser Eyes. Yeah, we'll take a look at Bitcoin here, too. We got the YouTube chat up, too, as well. Makensky, what's going on? Gravity Falls. Hello from Europe. Hello. Morning, Bobby. We'll pull up ACB. ACB was on the tight list this week. Jason. Thanks, man. Appreciate this. Appreciate that.
Today's IPOs, LOAR now indicating at 34 to 37, priced at 28. That's Lore Holdings, Lima Oscar, Alfa Romeo. This company specializes in the design, manufacture, and sale of niche aerospace and defense components.
Sink or swim. That's funny. Fly there. Good morning, G King. Good morning, SPS. 1329. Pecorn. Morning. Daniel, Aaron. Good morning, everybody. Make sure to drop them tickers in the chat. We'll pull up some of these names here.
Reporting 51 cents in EPS. Papa Whiskey Oscar Delta.
Yeah, we can look at earnings. We'll look at a lot of these different earnings. I know Roku's going to be reporting. I'm going to bring this up over here. All right, so we'll take a look here at the market. Market's now right back now at around that 2 standard deviation move. Just watch out here today, people. I'm looking at market net flow. It's kind of going back and forth. Like I said, there's not a clear picture here, so we'll probably see quite a bit of chop. But do not rule out more volatility today, just given the context of the current trend, the gap down, and then obviously the uncertainty going into all of these earnings. As it stands right now, I have long exposure in these markets, but if you looked at the Twitter post from yesterday, or the X post, I should say. Let me put this Trade the News up over here. Give me a second here. I posted out kind of my thought process and how, you know, the higher probability was to come back into the weekly expected move. We did that. We came back out. We lived. We jumped. We had fun. But there's just too much uncertainty. So to wait for the data, I felt like was the right move, given the context of, yeah, we were above a 5-day moving average, but, big old but, we were still in negative gamma. And when we're in a negative gamma territory, the flip line being at 50.90, this is where buying begets buying, selling begets selling, and you can get these crazy price swings. And that's what we're doing. We're reacting in negative gamma territory to a macro report, to an earnings, and this amplifies moves. Okay, it amplifies them greatly. Now, if we were in positive gamma territory and we were above a rising 5-day moving average and we saw some down move, what that would tell me is you'd look for dealers to start buying the dip and then finding that strength, because that's what they do in positive gamma. They buy the dip, they sell the rip, they buy the dip, sell the rip, and volatility contracts and compresses. And liquidity typically, you know, expands. Liquidity expands, volatility contracts. In negative gamma territory, liquidity dries up, volatility increases. And when you get these reports, right, we have some more data coming out today. We have an auction, right? 10 a.m. Wait. Yeah, 10 a.m. So 10, 11, 12, 1 p.m. Pacific Eastern Standard Time, 7-year note auction. We have a 4-week, 8-week bill auction. The 7-year note auction might be the more important one there. We'll see. Okay. We had some core PCE numbers today too as well. And we get the core PCE price index month over month, personal income spending, personal income and personal spending tomorrow, and Michigan consumer sentiment. All kinds of stuff, okay? All kinds of stuff going on. So this is, I've always found it that when we're in times of higher volatility, people make crazier and crazier decisions because they see the opportunity. And unfortunately, you know, if you're entering into higher risk, because higher volatility does equal higher risk, especially if you're not volatility adjusting your positions, okay? Right. That's why when like things start to take off to the upside, like when we had GameStop in 2021 or AMC, right? We were looking at AMC at like $2. And the reason why is because volume came in. A lot of volume came in, but the price didn't move yet. Right. That's where I told everyone about the whole party starter scan. That's what that does. It looks for unusual volume, but then you hone it even closer to look for prices that didn't advance. So unusual volume, no price movement, throws a question mark up in the sky and say, hey, what's going on here? Is there going to be a move happening? And then when the move happens, then everyone jumps in, then the volatility, then the excitement, then people try to go. And then typically you get these parabolic moves. Parabolic blow-offs. Blow-off tops. Okay. All right. Yeah, a lot of activity down here. Bookmap at 5,000. I'd say the more it's 50-15 here on ES, and then down even further. 49.60. You got over 2,000 contracts. That's a lot of contracts. That's a big dog. That's a big old dog hanging out down there. Someone knows something. That's Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is hanging down there. Yeah, the report is kind of concerning. Yeah, well, and we'll see. I mean, the market's responding, how the market responds. Are they going to price in rate hikes? I don't think that I don't think that they're going to be raising. But then again, they said that they're dependent on data. So if the data does come in to the point where like, no, we got to fight it and we have to continue to use our tools, then yeah, maybe. I think that they can start pricing it in, but I don't know if it's going to be like a 30% probability of a rate increase. You know, let's take a look. Let's take a look at probabilities right now. Like I'd feel like 2%, 1%, 3%, somewhere around there, but you never know, right?
Top there looking for Kansas City Fed Manufacturing Activity Index for April expected at -5. The up from -7 prior. So they're not really pricing it in as it right now when I'm looking at Fed Fund futures, which that can change in a day. It could change in a moment, right? It changes as soon as the report comes out. But Fed Fund futures is telling us there is a very high probability we will not rate hike or cut or hike in May, in June. That's like locked in, 90%, right? Lock it in, baby. No rate cut. Okay, they're pricing in one rate cut this year, right? December's right here. They're looking into September as the first rate cut. The thing is, when you go into a rate cut cycle, I mean, look back through history, these rate cut cycles, they're not really actually bullish. They haven't been. Well, I will pull up a chart and show that later, if you remind me. The City Fed Manufacturing Activity Index in just a few seconds.
But we don't even know necessarily if this is going to hold true as we come into these reports later down the road.
-8 for Kansas
right?
City Fed Manufacturing. It's worse than -5 expected.
A couple more data points here.
U.S. Treasury to sell $70 billion in
lot of chop.
13-week and $70 billion in 26-week bills, $60 billion in 42-week bills.
A lot of chop. A lot of chop. Let me take a sip of my cough. Yeah. I don't know if TLT is be bullish or not here, but I think there's going to come to a point where, you know, the yields are going to kind of top out here. And I don't know how much higher that's going to be. So if we look at like something like the TNX, all right, we'll look at the 10-year yield. It came up to 4.7. I mean, how much higher is this actually going to go? I have no idea. But, you know, in and around this area, maybe even a retest of 5%, that's a possibility. And maybe at those levels, you know, you can consider something like TLT. But so far, it's just in a downtrend. So yeah, to see some sort of a bounce here in the near future, that makes sense. I can see that happening. Maybe accumulate a long-term position. But these guys have been getting completely just and utterly clobbered. Clobbered. Oh, with rate cuts, yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we're seeing market volatility, but here's the reality. Let's go here. Take a look at the weekly candle. What are we doing? We're just trading inside. We're just trading inside the prior volatile week. So this is an inside trading week after kind of a bearish move down, right? We expanded. We're contracting right now, up ever so slightly on the week. And when you look at the big picture, when we start for the year, right? What have we been doing, right? We've been just kind of one ticket up, one way up. And now we're actually pulling back. This is healthy to see pullbacks, especially after something like this. And if you go back even further, right? I mean, it's been doing this since October, November, right? One ticket up, and it's now, oh, okay, it's coming down about this much. Oh my goodness, right? Can it turn into something more? And if it does, what do we look for? I mean, retested the prior high, maybe? The prior swing high over here? The prior all-time high? I mean, we broke through that and we never even tested it. So yeah, to see price pull back into here, back to the 40 week, back to the 30 week, I mean, that to me would be pretty nice. And then you'd want to see strength come from that area. Another level you can potentially watch if we get crazier type of volatility is potentially this trend where you have this high matched with this high. And we haven't tested that. So maybe even comes down, bounces up, tricks people out or whatever. Maybe it gives 3 waves down like that into one of these areas. These are all, you know, potential paths that you can watch for. But overall, I mean, you got to understand that you're going to go through periods of digestion, through periods of consolidation, especially after a run like this. Even if it goes back up, you should probably still come back in and still digest. Like in these type of conjunctures or these type of moves, I would say, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see price like around this area next year, right? Or in a year, by the end of the year, especially after very strong price advances already. One thing that we typically say here is, you know, this right here, if you played this up to the upside, congratulations, right? You made some good money. Everything's good. It was very easy to trade that for the most part because it was hard and it was easy. It was easy if you were in the trade. It was hard if you were trying to get in the trade looking for a pullback because there was none. But the reality of this is it takes really no skill to be long in this, just to kind of buy and hold and buy things because everything was working. Okay, the real skill is going to now come in during this market volatility. Now you're getting tested. Now this is where people are like, oh, buy the dip, go, buy the dip. Oh, buy the dip here. And then all of a sudden they're averaging in their entire portfolio and it keeps going down. And then they're like, oh, shoot. And then you get capitulations. And then they get blown out. And then they're too afraid to get back in. So real skill, you'll see real skill applied in times of higher volatility. This, bro, that ain't skill. It ain't skill. This is good fortune, good luck right here, because you don't know how high it's going to go. You're just trading how you trade, and you're managing risk, and that's positive. But here, if you start losing your cool, this move right here can lose all of that. Any gain that you made throughout here, and it was big, you can lose it even faster in volatility like this. That's just a reality. That's just the reality. Like, if you want to become, really good at trading, you got to think of it in terms of this. So say these are your drawdowns for the year, right? These are just
down about 1% along with the cash
like this.
The FTSE 100 up 1/4% or so. Bond
Excuse
yields
me, one
across
second.
the continent remain higher in Europe as well as here in the U.S.
Okay. So say this is your like, these are your drawdowns for the year, right? So this is like, one trade. We'll just say it's like, okay, 1%, 2%, 3, whatever. The further you go down, the bigger the percentage is on your individual trades, right? And then you have, here's like one trade, 2 trade. These are just, I'm just showing the down trades, right? Okay. Okay, so you go back, a year and you're like, hey, I'm going to go back through all my trades and I'm going to look through all my losing trades. And you look at your losing trades and you're like, well, I managed that good, that good, that good, that good. What was I doing here? What was I doing here? What was I doing here? And the way that you can really get better here is if you literally now follow through and you go back and you're like, dude, if I just focused in on just this and I cut these completely out of my portfolio, the down capture, if I just miss out of all of these losing trades, if I just took away my 3 biggest losers, that would make a huge difference. So maybe you look at this and you're like, hey, I was, down. No, I'm not even gonna say down. I'm gonna say, hey, I finished positive 10% last year. But looking at this, if I X out of these 3 losing trades, I would have been plus 25%. On 3 trades, right? So the big deal here, the big thing that you have control of, that you can only control here, is your risk in these times, all right? And that's why I say these times are super critical, very, very critical. This helps you get the portfolio beefed up, but this is a time to be very, very careful, all right? Wisdom. Oh, dude. Fly. Smash the fly. All right, S&P 500 still chopping around. Chop City, chop City, chop City. Where are we chopping around at? We're chopping around that 2 standard deviation move right here. The modern Mark Douglas. That's funny. Okay, well, I'm going to look at some of these tickers that everyone's saying. Not much going on right now. The market's still digesting what took place. Let's look at market net flow. It's bearish, but we're losing. We're going in and out. So as I said, this is chop, right? Now we're at chop. Now the market's just kind of like paused. And then we have big earnings after the bell, okay? So we'll take a look at some of these other names. Drop them in the chats if you haven't done so already. I'm going to write some of them down. We're going to pull up some of these names. I'm going to go through some of my stuff. Go from there. Hello from London. Nice. Hey, what's up, Aaron? Yeah, we'll pull up the year-to-date anchor view up. On what product, Anthony? On the S&P 500 or the Qs?
Follow up here, the FTC declining to
Tesla.
vote on a passive bank investment measure.
All I want to do is hop in my rocket ship, people, okay? If you're wondering, another note on what we just said here about this volatility, if you're wondering how to trade this, or how do you manage a portfolio in this, okay? How do you reduce volatility in a portfolio? You can pay attention to beta, right? So the beta of a product that you're obviously getting into, right? Sometimes, the higher the beta, right? Obviously it moves, you look at betas of 1.5, 2, 3 even, right? You don't need as much capital in these higher beta products, but one way to reduce portfolio volatility is smaller positions or raise cash, right? And I'll go like this as another example before we pull up these names. Take a look at the VIX. I'm just going to use random fictitious numbers on the VIX just to give you an idea. If you have a $10,000 portfolio, right, or 100,000, a million, it don't matter, and you're typically trading the 10 VIX. Just say you're trading at 10 VIX, and you're used to trading $10,000 portfolio at a 10 VIX. Well, if volatility goes to 20, This $10,000, if you still got it and you're still trading this, it's not moving back and forth as it was over here, right? Now, this $10,000 is trading as if it was $20,000. So the beta, the volatility increases, so your daily swings are going to be twice the size. That's what volatility does. So you can raise cash by cutting it. You can, now I'm going to just trade $5,000 because it's going to move like it did with the $10,000. Just an example, right? I mean, it's not the greatest example, but it helps understand volatility or adjusting, whatever. Okay, so we got Tesla. People want to see the Tesla.
CCS following a mixed shelf.
Meta.
Determined amount. Charlie Sierra.
Microsoft. I know we got Google. We'll look at the big. We'll just look at the big. We'll look at the Mag 7 first. How about that? Okay, ACB, Aurora Cannabis, Newmont, VTI. That sounds familiar. I can't remember what that is though. Amazon. All right. I'm just gonna look at the Mag 7 or Mag whatever 10, or I'm just gonna look at those names, including Tesla. HYG. HYG's down on the day. Yeah. NVIDIA, yeah, we're going to take a look at all those big ones. CMG, so we'll look at CMG. Yeah, that had earnings. Gold, yeah, we'll take a look at gold. Okay. Rocket ship. I want that rocket ship too. I mean, it's moving like we can come back. I'm not going to lie, I have a little hidden position in Meta now.
On their call saying they expect to push their annual bill increases of between
a very
2 and
small
4%
position
through 2026.
Small trade. I'll expose it later. Let me see. Are we time to buy puts? Ah, man, it's a time for me to just be chilling. INTC. I'm just going through the chat. Some of these names. TLT. Oh, we did kind of talk about TLT, but we can always revisit again. Ooh. Some people talking about euro versus the yen. Actually, it's kind of interesting stuff. I mean, I don't know what's going on here. What is it? USD, JPY. That's the US dollar to JPY. I mean, look at this stuff, dude. This is breaking out like crazy. Like, if this is actually a real, like, there's something big going on here. But this is the the dollar versus the Japanese yen as it continues to press higher and higher. Oh, man, that's wild. And then, but look at the euro to it, right? So if I go to, this is where it's even the euro. Look at, even this is breaking out. I don't know, man. Something big's happening. We'll see. We'll see how, what the response is going to be and all this stuff. I don't know. I'm not the person to know this type of stuff or what's going to happen or even try to predict what's going to happen. All I know is these moves are relevant into markets. Large spikes in this type of stuff is relevant. Large spikes in oil is very relevant. Moves in yields are very relevant. Moves in the dollar, right? Obviously very relevant. And they're important. And you always get the trigger or the catalyst or the narrative after the fact. But you can look back through history and be like, oh, it was so obvious. It was happening right in front of us. Okay. There's a lot of people are mentioning stuff about JPY. Man. NOC, we have NOC, Northern, Lulu, oh yeah, I want to see what Lulu's up to now. I was in Lulu. Did I miss out? Did I miss out on a stronger move? Pan W, the good old Nancy Pelosi name. Okay, we'll pull those up. And XBI. XBI is the biotech ETF. Okay, let's start looking at the S&P 100, the larger market cap names, because that was kind of like where the bulk of everyone was focused. All right, so if I look into the market watch, we're still at a negative correlation, people. So the market's kind of chopping around here, full-blown correlation to the downside. The ones that are up, we got Tesla up, Nvidia's up, Broadcom. Okay, Microsoft is down a whopping 4% today. These are large moves, well off the lows right now as we're coming into the earnings. So we'll put focus here. Microsoft, very bullish breakout here, nice bullish consolidation here. I played a little bit in here and then waited for the breakout. It never came. We got market volatility, it pulled in. The reason why I would say I waited in that area was because, well, we were below a declining 5-day and we're in negative gamma territory. So this is the stuff that happens in these market conditions when they change. So it's important to know when market conditions change. So pretty big hit there in Microsoft, but what is the expected move going into the earnings as it stands right now? We're looking at about 114% vol, $20.61.
For Cemex on their call saying they expect cement volumes to be up in the low to mid single digits in 2024.
21.60, $20.60 expected move, plus or minus. So if I go out here, that's just where it stands currently. We'd have to go closer to the close, but you can go up 20 bucks. Was it 20 bucks? Yeah, 2060, right? So 2060, we're going to do rough estimates here. All right. So you can, and this is just a 1 standard deviation move. Remember, Meta's hit a 2 standard deviation move after reporting and the earnings call. So the risk going into the close for Microsoft, and it'd be hard to believe, honestly, it would be hard to believe that the earnings would be bad for Microsoft. It's just, I think what everyone's so focused on, I'm going to remove all this stuff right now just to clean my chart up. I think what everyone will be focused on is guidance, because look at what happened to Meta, right? All right, so the expected move for Microsoft, woof. All right, that's not nearly the size of Meta. Meta was gigantic. It was $43 or something like that, and it went 2 standard deviations. So that's Microsoft. As it stands right now, I don't have, when I'm thinking of, when I look at Microsoft, I don't have a, hey, it's going to go up or it's going to go down. Like, I have no idea, right? If I had the earnings report right now in front of me, if I had all the answers and the guidance and everything, I still wouldn't know how the market's going to respond. I just wouldn't know. It literally moved, it moved $16 already, and it's still pricing in another expected. If we move right up back up to here, it's basically where it was yesterday. That's crazy. That'd be something. All right. There's Microsoft. Let's look at Apple. Apple's down slightly on the day. It's coming off this little bounce up. I mean, Apple has been interesting to me because I played this little pop right here. It was getting very tight, and then we popped up, and I got out, and this whole thing reversed, right? Nothing fundamentally changed, and now we're kind of getting reversed after this little pop. I mean, even looks like this was like a pretty tight wedge right here even. You know, you can draw it like that, and we popped out of that. And then if you like add in an RSI, right? I mean, you have this low, a lower low, you have a low and a higher low right here. So I don't know, are people going to start rotating back into these names? I mean, I'm looking at Tesla right now and its bid 2.62%, while everything else is getting hammered. But that was the flip side of everything, you know, all year. Apple's reporting next week. Okay, so NVIDIA. We've talked about NVIDIA, so I'm not going to beat the dead horse, but right now we haven't negated this bearish kind of breakdown, and we haven't had continuation of it. We're trading within this big volume break, and then when we did gap up close to that level and close at the lows, that was also another high volume day to the downside. So we're seeing a lot of volatility, a lot of chop here in NVIDIA. Here's Google. Google will be reporting after the bell, well off the lows today, which is definitely helping the marketplace out. You can see we gapped way down, and it's been a one-way ticket up since that point. down still 2.61%. So this thing was down, man, almost 5% to start the day. Going into earnings, we have $8.94 expected move, so almost $9. So where we stand right now, I'm going to do that. I'm going to draw it from there. I mean, that can bring us to all-time highs.
PYPL in the last 10 minutes or so, seen a Fortune article saying
or take us down to and around the 50-day.
OpenAI is looking at a potential partnership with PayPal.
Uh-oh, PayPal. What's up with PayPal? Uh-oh. Watch PayPal get a bid on that news. Let's take a look. Where's the... Okay. I got to see what PayPal's doing now. All this AI talk, man. Everyone's trying to still trying to get these AI bids. All right. There's some news on that. Do you see that? Do you see the big volume bar there on PayPal? So PayPal's down 2.1%. Seen some volume come in on that news right there. Right at around the 5-day moving average. If I look at the daily actually, I mean, it's kind of just like flagging here. Above the 50-day, it's inclining. The 200-day is rather flat. If you go long this, you'd want to, you'd want to stay above these little levels down here. See how the news kind of, I don't remember what this white line is. What was this white line? Kind of just flagging out here right now. Give me a second here. Kind of interested, actually. Is it worthy of a little position? Back to an inclining 5-day moving average. Buy by the point of control. I mean, shoot. I don't see why not. It's been going flat to sideways. Still kind of like chopped up in here. Ugh. I'm going to give it more time, see what happens. Okay, let me go back over to the Maga 7. So Google, expected move. Looks like this for right now. We'll have to update this more towards the close. But you're talking, we could be right back at all-time highs or just down slightly over here. So nothing too insane there.
Fairly busy European post-close session with companies set to report earnings.
Amazon will be reporting.
In Paris, France, expected to report along with ATE in Paris, CAR in Portugal, and a host of other companies. KORI in Paris also set to report after the close.
T-Mobile. All right, so Amazon also coming off pretty hard and fast from the highs, but still, I don't really think anything's really significantly broken here as it stands. We're well off the lows again, right? So a lot of these names that got beat up, they're just well off the lows, like a kind of like a capitulatory type of move, boom, and then it bounces up. You get this shock into the morning. Still, though, if if you're being patient in this type of stuff, they're below declining 5-day moving averages. Okay. Then Meta is down 13%. Coming off the high, coming down from this, so this immediate bounce too, and it's pulling back down a little bit here. Just a lot of chop here. Not a time to be overly crazy, right? A lot of people are going to try to. Oh shoot! Did my No, I'm still live. Hey, is the Twitch stream still going? Is there people still there? My thing just cut out. I don't know if that was just a... Okay, I think it's still... Okay. Cool. Hey, what's up, Trader Jens? Cool. Now we're down about 13% here in Meta. So it's coming off. I'm telling you guys, for me personally, when I look at this stuff, I am really focused on down capture, not meaning that I short into it, but meaning that I protect my capital on the downside. SPY's down 1.21%. These are pretty large moves. We haven't seen these type of moves really frequently. We haven't even seen a 2% move in quite some time. But notice how we're just floating around this level, 2 standard deviation level. You can just see this is one big move, and it could be flagging, right? It could go like this. You know, who knows? And eventually break down further. And what will break it, I'll tell you what will break it, a bad response to earnings on Google and Meta. I'm sorry, not Meta, Google and Microsoft. All right, so where are we at right now on S&P 500? We're just floating around that 5,000. That was the put wall there for the day. Has anything changed from a 0-day perspective? That would be a negative, starting to grow at 50.25. 50.25 is right here. So to see price come back up into this area and match up with a 0-day and this net gamma level, sure, why not? You know, is market net flow supporting this? Nah, market net flow is actually pretty bearish, right? Bearish divergence, bearish convergence. So not a great look there, which means I just don't mess with the market. Don't mess with it. Don't touch it. That's what I'm doing. That's my move. I'm talking to myself when I say that. You do whatever you want to do. You do whatever you want to do. Just manage risk. Ooh, yeah, coffee.
Tata Steel reportedly in discussions with trade unions on future ambitions of the business and impact of restructuring on employees for Tata Steel.
Yeah, we'll pull up Intel. We'll pull up, I think that trade at the open, made 30% selling put options. Oh, cool. Yeah, I have a position in Meta right now. I took one. I took a huge position. 5 shares of Meta. No, I really did take a position in Meta. Here, I'll screenshot it. Give me a second here. Why does it say I'm down? I'm not down on the position. I think it's because I got it in the overnight session. I'll sneak a little peek. I'll show you my position. I'll show you where I'm hiding out at. Ready? Right here. Can you read it? If you can read this, you can see my position. If you can't read it, too bad. You can't see my position. Just kidding. There it is. There it is, people. There's the Meta spot. It's just for a small bounce, so small play. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. Where was that? 412. Right here. Wait, 412. Yeah, 412 right here. 412. 70. It's like it's under the low of today because I caught it in the I caught it on the flush when the earnings call came out. So down there. Not a lot. Literally, it's a very small position. It's not even 3% position in my portfolio. So, all right, what were we talking about? Let's go into some of these other names. Because my average should be 399 because it touched there yesterday. Yeah, I'm up 4% on like a 3% position. I'm killing it. I'm killing it. No, it was actually just, I thought that we'd bounce, and we did, okay? Nothing crazy there. It was over a 2 standard deviation move, so I figured I might as well just throw in a little stab here because it could help mitigate some of the exposure that I have elsewhere. It could hurt it, but in this case, it is helping it. Although my other positions, what are they doing? Down a little bit today, and then flat. Down and flat. Yeah, so like, for example, like my portfolio today is, okay, this is crazy. Let me see here. this ain't even right. Let me see here. What is going on here? Why is it saying, it must not be calculating right because it says I'm down in the position. Why is it doing that? That's so weird. It says that I'm down 12% on my meta position, but I literally have my entry at, my cost is at 412.70. That doesn't make any sense. I think it has to do with the pre-market or the after the earnings. So it's just reading.
Reports here, Toyota intends to invest up to 1.
But then it says my gain is 4.2%.
Facility to bring production to the U.S.
So I think it's just reading the total loss for today, and it's just incorrectly doing that. And that's why it's doing this. So it probably has to just settle. I'm assuming that's what it is. It probably just has to settle. Yeah, so I'm like my portfolio today is down about 0.03%. Yeah, 0.03%. That's crazy. I'll take it, dude. I will take a flat day, especially in the midst of all this volatility. Now, if the market was up, 2% or something crazy like that, then I wouldn't be catching that run. All right. So has its pros and cons. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
4-week bills drawing 5.
All right, let's take a look at some of these names here. You guys had mentioned Tesla. Now, in order to check out Tesla, we got to hop into the Tesla Cybertruck.
Bills bid to cover 3.02, drawing 5.2, 7.5%, 62.3%, a lot at the high for the 8-week bills.
Ready Weeble. Ready Weeble. I don't know what that means. So Tesla today, we are still above the 5-day moving average, starting to incline. A little bit of a negative divergence here on the RSI on the shorter time frame. And we're trading inside the earnings candle right now. So a little bit of a consolidation. We had a gap down, close higher. Trading outside of its earnings expected move from the prior day. I'm going to go ahead and remove this stuff. I really wish that we had a gap down and then we closed up higher, like a very strong day like that. Because right now, as it stands, like people got so excited, but like, what are we doing? We're literally we're bouncing in a downtrend. So let's take this thing up higher. Let's take it up higher. Let's see if it consolidates. Let's give us better risk to reward for maybe pop higher into like the 200-day or something like that. But right now, like I just don't see the appeal of this specific name until we can get some more price action or more data. That's my thought on Tesla. All right, somebody had mentioned Aurora Cannabis. So ACB, this was actually on the tight list this week. Had a nice little flag pattern, right? A nice little flag after seeing some big volume, even consolidation here. Big volume, and then volume dried up. Price came in, consolidated, and we saw a nice big breakout. And now what are we doing on the breakout? We are now contracting, right? We're pulling back after a nice big strong move. Right, and keep in mind, these are volatile swings, right? This move right here from low to high, was 20%. So now we're pulling in. This little move down here, it doesn't look like much, but it's 6%. So you gotta be very, very aware of position sizing when you see things like this. Okay? Because overall the structure is not broken, but you may think it is because you're down 6%. So position sizing is what matters most here. Now, overall, this breakout happened on bigger volume, and now we have declining volume as price is pulling in. So this is actually still holding up rather well. Now, this is an individual name in this kind of cannabis area. These names are very volatile. You can have one news article and they could be down 20%, up 20%. That's how crazy these names are. So you can go into ETFs like MJ or MSOS. We're pulling into a inclining 5-day moving average, roughly at around that 650-ish area where the point of control is for the last 10 days here too as well. MSOS on the larger weekly time frame. We've been talking about, cannabis stocks starting to make a turn here as far as, hey, are we moving into an uptrend? Well, we broke out of this little downtrend. We're pulling back in, and take a look at the weekly candles here. You see this volatility so actually you just take a look. You get a large range candle, smaller, smaller body, large ranges, but smaller bodies. So volatility is kind of moving up, and you see the authority of these bodies, they start to they're getting smaller. So authoritative candle, smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit smaller. And then what? We expand to the downside. Now you get a big authoritative candle, smaller body. You have a smaller body right here for the week. This right here, right? Expansion to contraction, expansion to contraction. What are we going to do? Are we going to break the low and flush and expand to the downside? Or are we going to break the high and potentially expand back up to the upside? The trend, right? You have the MACD crossing over. It's not the greatest sign, but you do start to see the 40-week, 30-week turn up. So to reclaim the 50 or the 50-day or the 10-week moving average would be a more positive sign. So that would be something that I'd be watching. Like you can even see if I draw from this high to this high to this high to this high, it's a pretty sharp trend that you can pay attention to. And then on the flip side of that, if you take it from this low to this low to this low to this low, nice little tightness there, right? So I'd be watching for a break of the high of this week or a breakdown of the low, and I'd be more inclined to go long something like MSOS than short. But I wouldn't go long if it breaks the low. I'd look to go long if it breaks the high of this prior trading week. And then I would know where my risk is at. My risk would be the stop would be at the low of this trading week. I wouldn't really be interested in going long right now. If I was to do that, I would be a much smaller position. It'd be called a speculative position. That's how I approach that type of stuff. That's MSOS, MJ. MJ, I mean, it's a very similar look, very similar feel, right? Not much to say there. Let's continue on. You want to see jets? Yeah, I'll pull up jets in a moment. I'm just adding these to the list. So Newmont Mining, the larger miner, right? Newmont Mining reported. Nice big pop over here. So saw some strength. Now, where are we? We're coming back to basically where the year started. Getting slightly above that. Very strong move. These aren't things that I would chase. I don't like chasing, especially miners. I mean, they're kind of all over the place. Because if you look back to the left of the screen, what are we doing? We're actually in a downtrend. And even though we're breaking up, we're still technically, the trend is still down. So we're trying to change that. And I wouldn't chase this in a downtrend. So a big move in a downtrend, what does that happen before? I mean, a big move in a downtrend got sucked back in. A big move in a downtrend, right? Sucked back in. A big move in a downtrend, sucked back in. A big move in a downtrend, pulls back in. A big move in a downtrend, pull back in. So are we seeing something potentially change here? Because things like gold and stuff is working out really well. So I like to put these on the radar. These are called bullish or power earning gaps, pegs, right? Powerful earning gaps. And then what I like to do is look for consolidations. And if it starts to flag out, and then it allows me to have better risk to reward, because I wouldn't know where to put my stop loss, right now. Maybe at the low of this candle, maybe, but I'd enter in here, and then just for a 1-for-1, it'd have to go up to 46 before stopping me out. So these typically get continuation. I would like to see a flag, consolidate, and then potentially push higher. Give me a second here. Give me a second here.
SK in Paris, France, Q1 sales at 1.89 billion, up 7.3% on a like-for-like basis.
Okay, sorry. So that's Newmont. VTI. Oh, VTI is a total stock market. That's why it sounded familiar. I mean, it tracks like the S&P 500. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about this S&P 500 pretty often, right? It literally looks the same. Probably the biggest holdings. I don't know right out of the gate what the holdings are, but I'm guessing Apple's one of the top holdings. So the same thing goes. When I talk about the S&P 500, the same thing's going to go for VTI. CMG. Nice big move there. We were talking about this little flag over here. Consolidated, nice little follow through. God, Chipotle, man, I swear, like this thing just keeps going higher and higher. We are going into a split pretty soon here. I think it was like a 50-to-1 split or something like that. This price is going to be obviously coming down, not $3,000 a share. Give me a second again. Give me a second, guys. Sorry. I'm trying to do this. Thursday, 8 noon. Sorry, I'm dealing with house stuff. Crazy, man. We had people come bring in furniture to our house, and they took off all the protective coverings of this furniture and rested it on our staircase and used it as a lever. So they put the weight on the staircase at the top, used it as a lever to move it up like this, and completely indented a huge hole in our new flooring. They took the blankets off, they took all that stuff off, and now it's like, dude, really? And the problem is, like, luckily this floor is fairly new, so we can probably get, but a lot of the times we can probably order the same thing, but a lot of the times the flooring, like they make new batches, it doesn't match quite the same. Man, dude, it's constant running into things. It's crazy. No, I'm not having any good luck, man. There's zero luck with any sort of deliveries or anything. And then, like, I'm dealing with this whole refrigerator and dishwasher thing. It's like, what the frick, man? It's all new stuff. And I'm having all these problems. And it's like going back and forth. You have like a middleman that says, oh, I can't do this. Call this person. Oh, this person says, no, you're supposed to call that person. No, this is what, no. And then my head explodes. I just figured out the healthcare insurance thing that was going on with the other day. And now they're saying, oh, no, it's not there. I'm like, no, yes, it is. They're like, well, no, actually, technically not, because it's not on our end. Oh, it was over here. My goodness. So my guess is I'm going to get a huge, gigantic bill, and then I'm going to have to fight it and say, no, I did have health insurance. Look at it. It's right here. Oh, well, you got to call this person. And then after you call this person, they're going to be like, well, no, you just call them. No, all you have to do is this. Just fill out this form, and you'll hear back in 10 to 17 years. It's as easy as that. Okay. It's great, dude. Greatest technology in the world here, and yet we can't figure out common things. Gold still looks good. I mean, gold's still holding up. We had this big reversal day over here, so GLD we're looking at, but you can look at this and potentially say that it's kind of flagging here. Consolidating. This was such a huge move in gold. It's going to take some time to consolidate. Yeah, no one wants to take responsibility, man. They were trying to tell us it was our construction crew that we hired for the floors, and then I literally immediately showed him. I showed them the photos before we started the floors. I was like, no, trust me, I made sure. And then all of a sudden they went just radio silent on me for like a couple of days, and then reached back out. Well, yeah, well, and then all of a sudden a refrigerator door shows up at my doorstep. They're like, hey, did you get that door? We're going to replace it for you. I'm like, that's not going to fix the dent underneath that door or the one on the side of the fridge. And then they installed the dishwasher incorrectly, apparently. So the GE guy came out here and he was like, yeah, no, they installed this incorrectly, dude. He was like, they didn't put the spring in. So the bottom door of my new dishwasher has bent out because there's no spring. So it literally, I was like, dude, this doesn't seem right. And they're like, no, I think that's it. I opened the door and it just goes like this. What the hell? I'm like, that is no way that's supposed to be like that.
Delivery goals for Airbus.
Who am I dealing with, man? Who am I dealing with? Oh, brother. Give me a second here. Okay, continue on here. I'm getting off track. Sorry, peoples. INTC. Intel has earnings after the bell. So I don't establish these new positions. I did look, I must have drew this line because it was such a very steep decline, and these type of things can see pretty explosive moves. I like trading them sometimes. I just don't like trading them into earnings. So if we look at the expected move is about 241. We're talking a pop back up to around the 20-day and this is just one standard deviation, mind you, or potentially breaking down even further here. So I don't establish these new positions. Palantir, we'll pull up Palantir. I'm going to put that on the list here. As new tickers come in, I'll put them on the list. For show. All right, we'll take a quick look at the markets here, and then we're going to come back into NOC. What's the market doing right now? We're consolidating. We did see this low flush there in the morning, a higher low, a higher low, a higher low, all into these areas of liquidity over here. So price today is contracting. Price is getting tighter. If I look at the 15-minute time frame, you can be like, it's flagging out. That's kind of what we said could happen. We said it kind of could flag out, and we'll see a decisive move come earnings. Right? We can get good earnings in Microsoft and Google, or just Microsoft, right, or whatever, or Nothing Burger, and if they're good, man, this could pop right back up to the weekly expected move. But don't rule it out that we can't break down to the lower weekly expected move. If we broke all the way down here, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not on earnings, maybe it's on PCE, right? We have one more trading day left of the week. Now, this would be pretty wild to see a move to the upper weekly expected move down to the lower weekly expected move. But the market priced in this. So even if we close at 485.60, that the market was actually correct in its risk assessment. So in theory, it would be trading efficiently. It's just the day-to-day, it would be a little bit wild. We're still up on the week, right? We're still positive on the week, people. So I get it. There's some volatility. We're below these, below this, the swing low, the week to date, the 5-day moving average. And we're in negative gamma territory, right? Negative gamma territory. Flip lines up here, 50-90. Like I don't care about this market environment right now. These conditions don't work well for me. So I pull back. I pull back a lot. Take off the throttle, Snap, we'll take a look at Snap. Yeah, Snap is reporting after the bell too as well. All right, let's take a look at NOC. I want to first look at market net flow. Market net flow, we lost convergence. So we're back and forth, a lot of chop here. So when we don't have convergence and we have a bearish divergence, you have counter trend moves. So a move to the upside is possible in these conditions, right? All right, so NOC, this has been a chop fest. We saw some volatility. It's coming back here though. NOC is still holding up, man. Earnings started lower, now it's higher. I'm gonna look at the weekly time frame to shutter some of this volatility out. It doesn't look horrible. Like, geez, you have this low, a higher low, a higher low. You have these small little range bodies. We're breaking out of that today. And we have the MACD curling up. It's above the zero line. It's above all these moving averages. I mean, it looks decent. I mean, it looks like it can start moving, right? You can even potentially look at it like this. Right? And it's trying to make that break. It's not a bad looking chart at all. It's not a bad looking chart. And it has clear areas where you can manage risk. I would say pay attention to the because the daily is a little choppy. If you look at the day, yeah, right. It's not even anywhere for the year, but if you look at the week, maybe you can get a little bit more clear idea of where the potential path can be. Lulu was one that I traded. Let me see where this is at. I forget exactly how I traded this. I'm out of the position. I don't remember if I got out here or if I got out here. I think I got out around here. So Lulu, I mean, it's still in a downtrend. So when I play these like type of moves, it's smaller positions and I'm much more aggressive on taking profits. Simple as that. Do I think anything big's going to happen from here? I mean, I don't know. Like it got beat up and now we're seeing a bounce. People were talking about buying here. People were talking about buying here. And the same thing went. I said, if it breaks down, respect it. If it breaks down, respect it. And then it started getting very tight here. And that's when I got interested, was down here.
2% and 5.43 billion.
If you're in the Discord or if you're in the trade ideas, you can go back to the Lulu. And I posted it. I think it looked like this. Or maybe it was one day out. Actually, I can't remember. Let me see. Did I post that? Or was it here on this on here? I can't remember. Yeah, it was here. It was right here. And then the next day it gapped out, confirming it. And, you could have had a stop at the low or a stop here and then followed it up. And then if you followed the lows of each day, you probably would have got stopped out today. Nice little trade. Now it's important to see you have a low. So where's this going to pull to? Is it going to be there? Is it going to go up higher and put in a higher low? And then you want a higher high. And then maybe it sets back up again for another trade. But for right now, I'm not going to execute into it if I don't see tightness, if I don't see something very clear. Adobe was one that kind of did a similar look. Adobe was breaking. I didn't trade it, but I mean, I'm still open to trade this. It's getting some volatility here today with the current market, but you can see it's also getting pretty tight here. And we saw a breakout, and now it's pulling back in a little bit here. But it's in a downtrend, so you got to once again be more aggressive. All right. Hey, Eco. What's up, man? What's the expected move for Google? So the Google expected move is for the week, or sorry, not for the week, for the earnings expected move. Right now it is plus or minus 9.23. Just about there. So rough estimates right here. About 165 as it stands right now to 147-ish. It's a rough estimate. Like, it's going to change throughout the day, obviously, but that's where we're at right now. Can we look at Riley? Has a high short interest. Looking at calls. Yeah, Riley. Riley's getting a lot of attention for being, like, fraudulent. This guy, Mark Commodites, is doing, like, all this stuff and just tagging them. But the thing is, it is a high short interest name. And it got, like, it went through something the other day, right? Some sort of a legal announcement, and they jumped 36% on the news or something like that, right? So if I pull up Riley, that's what's kind of happening there. Am I going to execute into that? No. It's consolidating right now. It's up slightly on the day from being down lower. Right at around its declining 200-day moving average. So yeah, can we get some more of a short squeeze? Absolutely. It's a very high short interest name. It's one of the higher short interest names out there. But then you have, what is this, earnings around the corner? If I look at okay, if I have to be a little bit more tactical, okay, here's the 15-minute chart. You have a low, a higher low, and it's coming into a prior area, right? So it's kind of tightening up here. So you can be a little bit more tactical in your approach. But the daily time frame, I just don't see the trade for myself. I don't see it, Let me go back over to here. So we went in, knock, Lulu, PANW, the Nancy Pelosi name. Gosh, dude. It's a lot of nothing, man. I don't know. You have this low here on that earnings move. We had this reflexive bounce. People were so crazy about it over here. And I said, I just wait for it to digest. And that's pretty much the last time I've seen it. And now since then, we've kind of just came here. There's this little trend right here where we broke from it, broke down, broke down, broke down. And now we're above it where we saw a breakdown and we're kind of back testing it. So the shorter term frame, the 20-day, it's starting to turn up here. So if you were to execute, I mean, yeah, you'd want to stop probably under the 200 or under this swing low. The medium term, the 50-day held his resistance here, and it's holding his resistance again over here. So as this declines, if we pop back above it, you'd want to see it start to flatten out and turn up, or even faster, right, on a stronger move. Ugh. The longer term, the 200 days is still up, and we're just consolidating. We're consolidating a big bearish earnings gap. And you typically get follow through in these type of things. But we did not. I don't know. You can also look at it like this. Big move is just chopping around. So if you look at a bigger pattern, maybe if it gets tight, even tighter in here, that could be an opportunity there. XBI as biotech. Yeah, XBI was looking really good until it broke down. I was watching XBI very closely here. And it just followed through. It never broke out. Continued to follow through to the downside. Biotech's hard to trade. Biotech's hard to trade. We're under the 200-day. There's not really a trend there. What's this purple line? This purple line, I don't even know what that is. Why do I have that there? Probably because that's where a lot of the volume traded. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 weeks down in a row. But I mean, shoot, it's just a huge drop from those highs. I want to see here. I'm just for fun. Let's do a Fibonacci move from this low to this high. So the market made this gigantic advance, XBI on the weekly time frame, and we're pulling into and around the golden zone right now. Right? So it's typical to see big moves and then pull back like 50 to 61.8%. So maybe we find a little bit of support up into and around these areas over here, but is it actionable right now? I mean, I think you're taking a stab in the darkness right now. So your approach to something like this would have to be very, very considerate of risk. Like you wouldn't go full position right here. You maybe take a small position. If it bounces, cool. But if it comes down lower, then maybe you can average or something like that, and then wait for the strength to turn back up. If you're bullish on biotech.
In France.
Revenue coming in.
If I go to the 15-minute time frame, you're even under the 5-day. So maybe wait for this to start turning back up. Could be another positive sign. But overall, I mean, you also got this little positive divergence here, a little wedge pattern. So pop back up into like 83. Sure. T-Mobile. Earnings. When are earnings? Is earnings today? Yeah. All right, so T-Mobile, yeah, we have earnings after the bell. Hold on 1 second. Gosh, man, getting hit up from every single angle here. T-Mobile earnings expected move is roughly $5.19. So we're looking at maybe a retest of these highs or a retest of the low. What does this look like to me? It looks like a bunch of range. It's a range in bullish context, not really, doing anything much for the year-to-date perspective other than going sideways. So the trend is flat, neutral, right? Longer term is still up, as price on the medium term and shorter term is kind of going sideways, and we have earnings. So it's one of those things. If we get a nice big earnings move, I would wait for the consolidation and see if we can get some follow through. If we earnings gap down, then I just let it go. But I don't execute into this stuff. Nothing new there. Let's take a look at Jets, the ETF. Jets, a lot of chop. Once again, I look to see for tightness, and right now it's just loose and sloppy price action. So you can go into the individual names. I know that some of them are reporting, right? Didn't American Airlines report? Yeah, American Airlines reported choppy. I know Boeing reported.
F in France.
What's Boeing doing? Boeing had a nice gap up, reversed completely, and following through to the downside even more. Like what's going on here with Boeing, dude? I guess the flying cars announcement wasn't enough, right? There's going to come a time where this becomes a great opportunity here, probably, you know. But as it stands right now, I mean, the trend is down. It keeps getting faded. Ugh, man, this stuff is just nuts. Palantir still consolidating its earnings gap up. People were talking about this head and shoulder pattern breaking down further. I'd still be watching for this trend line. That's kind of what we called out, right? So you see these lows, lower highs, lower lows. So I'd be looking for a break of one of these these lower highs, because that's what's going on. They're stair-stepping it down. So, I mean, you can look at this and be like, hey, it's flagging, it's wedging or whatever, right? And I'd say, yeah, you're probably right? Or whatever, however you want to draw it. It don't matter. But earnings is around the corner here too as well. So that's May 6th. I wouldn't really feel comfortable executing a position on this current setup into that. But if we get a nice big bullish move, like we did here, it could set up for a potential play like it did right here, right? We've got this like pullback here on light volume. Boom, and we shot up. You just got to be aggressive with your risk management. Hey, what's up, Tony? Yeah, I'll go over market net flow here. Okay, that's Palantir. We'll go over Snap after this. Let me go a little quick view on the markets. Market's catching a little bit of a bid here. Coming into that 50-25 level. That is one of the 0-date levels that we had mentioned. Okay. Let me see if anything's changed from a 0-date perspective. Not really. So 50-25 would be a level of interest there. Market net flow, still bearish divergence, but we have no convergence, which we had mentioned. That's where you can have counter moves, which move to the upside would be possible, right? Down 1% on the S&P 500. We're seeing a little bit of a move up higher. Okay, kind of potentially wedging here, but we're seeing a little nice move up into and around what? A declining or flattening 5-day moving average. We're still below the week-to-date anchored VWAP, and we're below the swing low anchored VWAP. So, and that's also in line with the lower daily expected move, which the higher probabilities is that we come into these areas. And, you know, if we come up into these areas, that's a lot of confluence to get chopped up here, okay? If we can significantly break 50-25, 50-50, I guess, would be a potential level there. They're not really reaching out further, though. So, yeah.
Just note a few moments ago, LOAR opened at $45 a share.
We did just get some added liquidity overhead here. 654 contracts, 400 above that. Yeah, expected move on Microsoft for earnings is $20.98 as it stands in this current moment. It changes closer to the close, but that's pretty spot on. That's looking at roughly about 415 to the upside, 373 to the downside. Take a look at Meta because I do have a position there. Oh, there's my line right there. Oh no, that's right around there. Earnings expected move for Meta's up here. Choppy. NVIDIA is really helping this market out right here. It's getting pretty tight here too. NVIDIA is. You can see it's getting pretty tight here on the right side. And Google's been kind of a one-way ticket up. It's kind of like, right from the lows. So keep in mind, if volatility wants to re-enter this chat, dude, oh my goodness, this could be bad, right? Because you can see quick significant breaks, and then you go through a little bit more periods of chop. But right now it's holding up rather well. All right, let's go to Snapchat. Snapchat's going to be reporting after the bell. Snapchat never has good earnings, man. So eventually it's going to have to make a good earnings report, or the market's going to perceive it as good. 2.39 expected move on Snappy Chatty. This thing always gaps down. 2.39 would be about here. So Snapchat, I mean, I wouldn't touch with the 10-foot pole here either. Horrible trend. Earnings have always been kind of wonky. It's been going sideways forever. Expected move is up here to it around $13.50 beneath $8.80 or something around there where these swing lows were. Geez, look at this last earnings report, man. It came from $17 and went down to closed at 34% down. Oh my goodness, bro. Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Merrick's MRX opening at $19.50. The price of 19. Michael Romeo X-ray.
Is Bookmap down? Bookmap's like the software? No, I don't think so. Bookmap's working fine for me. We saw that liquidity overhead right here. 704 contracts. When it gets tight, is that a possible break higher? For which, hey Sonic Warrior, what name are you talking about? It depends. When it gets tight, it means volatility is contracting, and when things contract, they eventually expand. That's one of the basic principles of technical analysis. So then you want to start to stack other ideals in your favor, whether you think it's going to break to the upside or downside. The way that I choose that is by looking at the trend. If we have higher highs, higher lows, the trend would be up. Volatility is contracting. So the ideal thought there would be is that we break and continue to the upside. But if it doesn't, you have to respect that. And the tightness allows you to back into risk to have small risk. So if it doesn't break out to the upside, you can be wrong, and you can be wrong very quickly. If it breaks to the upside, you can be right, and you can be right big time if it continues. For NVIDIA? Yeah, I'll pull back NVIDIA. Yeah, it looks like we're trying to come fill that liquidity up here. 50.56. Coming back into the 5-day moving average. We're up there at 50.25. Pulling back into that level. Let's see if 0 date's changing at all. If it's not changing at all, it's like we go outside of it and we come back into 50.25, right? And we kind of just test in and around these areas. So as we move through it, if they're not reaching further, it's a lot likely that we just play around in 50.25 for a moment. Okay? Come out, come back in. Come out, come back in. Pulling into the 5-day moving average, getting a nice little bit more of a move here. The main area that I pay attention to, if we can push a little bit more, and no, I wouldn't be shorting into it. Wouldn't be doing anything into this right now for me. We still have no convergence, which is where you get the counter moves. Bearish divergence, no convergence. And then we're going to just trading around that 50.25 right now. You get outside of it, you pull back in. You get outside of it, you pull back in. Unless if they really start to reach out further.
In the U.S., the FCC voting 3-2 to reinstate a landmark net neutrality rule. FCC barring Chinese telecom companies from offering broadband internet services in the United States.
They just added more liquidity overhead here, people. They're adding supply overhead when this is moving up. I like to see this bid beneath us, so that's positive. That the buyers are stepping in here too. But if this clears out, if this is all blue water beneath us, you can get tossed. Okay, they're still adding here. but the supply is adding as well. They're still they still have bids beneath us. Not much.
Seeing a report here, the U.S.
They added more liquidity overhead here. Now, if it becomes blue water up beneath us, up above, they're adding here.
Defamation verdict.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a pullback. They keep on adding there. So this blueness up here, though, if this stays clear, and then you see this start to step in, you can get pops right back up. But as it stands, you see this added liquidity over here, and look when they did this at 50, 65, almost 700 contracts. Right, you can see it right here. They added, boom. What did price do? Price saw this, and they're like, oh my gosh, we don't have that much demand to get us up there right now. So they come down to find demand. Okay, where are our buyers? Oh, there's some buyers right here, right? Up, and then lack of sellers, so then they start pressing price back up to whatever level, and it'll just be an auction. It'll be looking for demand, looking for supply, looking for demand, looking for supply. Cool. You want to take a look at Pfizer? Can do that. Let's take a look at Pfizer. Pfizer. Oof, man, dude. Bro, holy heck, holy downtrend. Holy downtrend. I mean, here's the thing with Pfizer. This is why you got to respect a trend. Definitely declining 200-day. It's basically, freaking just not straight down, but it's just a clear downtrend, well off the 50, huge spread between these averages, clear downtrend. And then, like, oh, dude, it's such a good opportunity to buy this big sell-off right here. Oh, you were wrong. Oh, but this one, yeah, definitely. Oh, wait. Oh, no, you're wrong. Oh, how about this low? Oh, how about this low? How about this low? Oh, okay, this has to be the capitulation. No, it's right here. It goes lower, right? So weak stocks get weaker, strong stocks get stronger. So if you're trying to catch a bottom, and you've been trying to catch a bottom, I mean, all of 2023, 2024 right now, can it eventually become something more positive? Absolutely. I mean, I don't think Pfizer's going anywhere. It's gigantic, right? But you're just playing with fire. I mean, so if you're like, hey, I think long term I'm going to hold this for 20 years. All right, whatever, dude. Yeah, like whatever. That then chances are in 20 years from now it could be higher, a lot higher. Who knows? 10 years, but 5 years, I don't really know. But I would prefer to see the trend like. I'd prefer to see this, okay, snap up, and then even that point, it could take years to go sideways for these trends to start to neutralize and flatten out. It could take years. Like, look over here. See this, like, break here, break lower? This was from, 2021, 2018. Let me go even further out. Let me just go max. I mean, look to the left of the screen. So I'm sure that there's a dividend, right? So it probably looks different on a dividend chart or whatever. But you look back to the left, I mean, we're back at areas that we've, back to 2013. Man, that's wild. And these downtrends, look at, like, this one lasted for, 1, 2, 3, going on 3 years or whatever. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 years. And this one went for, we'll just start right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. And then this uptrend, though, was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a lot of years. Now, when it went up from here, what do you see the moving averages doing? They start to turn back up. All right, so price came back down. Oh, then it came back, and then it started, leveling out and started turning back up again. And we're just far from that. We're like in this type of trend. So in short, if you take a position, it's probably going to be held for a long time, unless if you're just trying to play a quick little bounce. Quick bounces for sure. Like you can probably play a quick bounce. You probably catch a few bucks. Yeah. I mean, even today it's down 2.85%. So yeah, if you buy here, I bet you that there'll be a time where it's like right back up here, right? At some point, boom, boom, Oh, or maybe it goes down like this and comes right back up here. And then maybe it goes down further or whatever, chops around. Maybe it goes like this, goes up for $5. But is there easier trends to trade? And I'd say, yeah, there's probably easier trades out there. I can't quite recall all these things. I have so many different services, man. It should be on the Bookmap server or on the Bookmap website. You go to DX, they have an option for DXV, and you go over there and you should be able to see it. I don't know what the costs are right now. I believe that they changed. I've had this for a while. Did the builder not want to replace it? All right, sorry, I'm working with scheduling and stuff like this. Take a look here at the chats. Collect the PFE trend. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what is the yield on Pfizer?
Argentina Central
Yeah, I
Bank
see the Twitch
loan
chat
yield
regen.
benchmark interest rate
Our
is
generator.
60% from 70%.
Yeah, we'll look at CX and DE. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. CEX. Chemex. Cemex. Is this like a Brazilian company or something? I'm unfamiliar with this specific company. I'll look at it from a technical perspective and it's I like to look for tightness. And what I'm noticing here is these dips are getting more aggressive. So volatility is actually increasing as it's moving, but it's also still tightening up here in a way. So basically unchanged for the year, and then every dip is like being exaggeratedly like more. You see what I'm saying? Like this dip is smaller than this dip, which is smaller than that dip. So I'm not that great at trading these type of names that move like this. If I were to trade it, I'd say, okay, I'm watching this little trend for a break and potentially play up to the swing higher if this little trend is going to continue like that. DE is one that I'm more familiar with. And even this one is like, man, just look back to the left of the screen, right? It ain't going nowhere. So you really have to get tactical in these for trades. You're below a 5-day moving average. You get a hit today, it's kind of declining. If it stays longer down there, it's going to be declining. And then you look at the daily, and it's just flat. It's just hard to actually establish like a decent. Hey, like if I'm doing a swing trade, and there's no trend, you have to be in the range, like a range. I look at it as a range, and I'm just not. That's not like my go-to, you know. I look for like money that's easier to be made. And when I look at something and I'm just like, I'm unclear, I'm uncertain, I don't see the clear trade, I'm like, I step away. There's been a lot of setups in DE. Like for example, like this big move here, right? If I was looking at this and it looked like this right now, like, oh, it's a clear trend. It's kind of, tightening up here after this move. Maybe that would be an opportunity. Maybe even over here, I would have said, hey, look at this trend. But even on this break, that was a little bit too big of a move to break, right? If I lessen the noise and go to the weekly time frame, I mean, on the weekly time frame, you see this big dip, a little bit smaller, right? You know, we're getting like a little bit of volatility to contract on the weekly time frame. It's been going sideways for a long time. Let me activate this. And I can go just to the left of the screen like that. And, you know, maybe look at something like this, like, okay, these highs, it's getting hit at around 450. All right. So if I look at this from a larger time frame, do I think that, you know, if we start breaking up, if we come up, that, you know, that could be something very big in the long term, breaking 450. But right now it's kind of going sideways. So that'd be one way to look at this. I mean, you could look at this and say, hey, this could be distribution too, because you have accumulation, a markup, you know, potential distribution, you know, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. If it breaks down, respect that, because then we could go into a stage 4 decline. So we're kind of in that, you know, hot spot right there. Yeah, cost did something like this too, actually, but cost broke up to the upside. And the same thing could happen technically here. Like, you're right, Costco did look similar to this, right? Costco looked like this, right? It was a little bit cleaner of a trend break here. You call this a diamond pattern, or I wouldn't even consider that like that, or kind of like that, but you know, it got very tight, and then we started breaking out and even consolidated there, and Costco went for it. So yeah, you're absolutely right. This could have been distribution and it could have broke down, but it broke to the upside. So yeah, 100%. There you go. So you kind of get an idea of what to look for, you know? All right, are we moving here? Is that what people are talking about? Here we go. Let's go. Should we rocket ship it? Now that was a nice little move there. We filled this liquidity and look at what they did. They actually added some beneath us, but still we have the overhead supply over there. So the market's making a little bit of a run here outside of the 50-25. Let's see here if they're reaching any further or if this is going to be a little bit of a fake. A little bit of reaching, but nothing crazy. So we're pulling into the 5-day moving average. We're pulling back into and around the daily expected move. We found some, you know, level of, you know, ended up turning into support down there at the 2 standard deviation move. This area up here, we have the week to date anchored VWAP. We have the daily expected move, and we have the lower daily expected move, and we have the swing low anchored VWAP there. Okay. See anything above this 50-65. There we go. I think we're going for it. This little step in, this little clear of liquidity, and then they added it. That was a nice tell. It's always good to see them step in. A lot of these names, a lot of stocks got beaten up, and now we're still down 0.81% on the day. We're still up on the week. That's a positive sign, but down 0.81%, and we're outside of the lower daily expected move. So I think a lot of people are excited to see some of this come back, which is positive sign. Obviously, that's good, but it's also, we're still down pretty significantly on the day, and we have earnings coming around the corner too. So. Yeah, thoughts on Tesla? Yeah, we can pull that up, Jake. PH has a beautiful long trend. Let's take a look at PH. Wow, this is kind of going. Yeah, that's a Parker Hannifin Corp. That's quite a move, huh? Holy macaronis. Yeah, there's been a lot of nice little consolidations there. Earnings around the corner. I'm unfamiliar with this specific name. Is this like a it sounds like a builder? Sounds like an industrial name? Not too sure. Now we're kind of consolidating up here at highs. Trend is looking good there. I think, you know, after the weekly, it's pretty extended from these levels. So I'd like to see a longer consolidation. You'll probably get that at some point, like we did here for a couple of years. I don't know if it's going to be right now going into earnings. And you have the MACD curling over too. Last time we had the MACD curl over and crossover, we went through a few weeks of consolidation into and around the 40-week, 30-week. Set up a new base maybe. Could be one on the radar. Yeah, PDD, Pinduoduo. Pinduoduo. Something happened here on this day. I don't know what that was. That's a pretty big volume day, and we're kind of consolidating that move. I mean, it looks good that we broke that. This was a pretty strong day right here. I don't know what this was. Oh, that was earnings.
ByteDance and TikTok. Reportedly, ByteDance would prefer shutting down a loss-making app rather than a sale if it exhausts all legal options, according to press.
Dude, I don't think that they're not gonna ban TikTok. They ain't gonna do it. I feel like they're gonna just play back and forth with it. Who knows? Maybe.
As core to their overall operations, making a sale of the app unlikely. Snap shares moving up to fresh highs.
Yeah, Pinduoduo. I mean, this looks pretty good. It's a little loose and sloppy, like most of these Chinese equities are. But I do like seeing this big break right here, and now it's kind of pulling in. So it'd be nice to see this flag out a little bit more and tighten up to potentially play a move higher. Earnings was a trip, man. You get this big gap up, reverse completely, and now we're kind of trying to build back a little bit there.
U.S. Supreme Court's conservative justices reportedly receptive to former President Trump's argument that the former president have at least some degree of criminal immunity from certain acts that took place while he was in office.
IBM, so what do I think will happen with IBM? So I look at this from a technical perspective. So we had a bearish earnings gap, right? Boom. You typically get follow through on these moves. Like even if it was a bullish earnings gap like this one, you typically get follow through. So in this bullish one, I look for consolidations and I look for breakouts. The same thing happened with Target. We traded this one right here, bullish earnings gap, boom, consolidated, traded it up. Disney, boom, wait, Disney, same thing. Bullish earnings gap, consolidated, traded it right here, played it up. Okay, so when I look at IBM, it's a similar situation, right? You get a bearish earnings gap, it can consolidate. The consolidate could be like, look at here, you gap up and you pull down. When you gap down, you could potentially pull up, right? But it could be a flag, bearish flag, and you typically get a continuation or retest the flows at some point. Okay, maybe it comes down. Maybe it's more of a stronger shot into the 200-day, and then we go from there. Look at Lulu, right? Lulu, gap down, follow through to the downside. Then we see this reflexive bounce back. So you got to be a little bit aggressive there. So my thought is, you know, what do I think is going to happen? I think what's going to happen is what typically happens. You get some sort of continuation, or you get some sort of consolidation. It gets people thinking, oh, we're good again, and then potentially then breaks from that point. But you have to go from that point when you have actually the data, the more data to support it. So, you know, you can get reflexive bounces, you can get boom, strong moves, but the strong move, then look at the volume. What's the volume telling us? Like over here on this gap up and price was pulling down, what was volume telling us? It was drying up. Price was contracting, volume was contracting, explosive move from that point. Just following Nancy. She says buy pins since TikTok does buy pins. Oh, did they report? Oh no, they're about to report. Dude, actually, what is this day going on with pins? This actually kind of looks good to me. I love days like this where it's just huge move down, but then it closes at the high of day. If we get hella volume, hella volume. What a weird day in pins. All right, what's TEL? Tell. Telluride? No, Tellurian investment. I don't trade these type of names. I don't trade penny stocks like this. I don't know anything about it. The trend is down. So when I'll tell you, in quick, it's like, yeah, are you going to play for a pop? Maybe, right? You get these little pops here, but the trend is down. What's the volume look like here? Yeah, you get plenty of volume. It just doesn't move. Like, see how it's all choppy here? Like, I need liquid names, and I need things to move smoothly. Like, if like this right here, like in boom, 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 like, it's just way too, it's too crazy for me. I wouldn't be the guy to do this stuff, to talk about these names. Like, just these small moves are crazy. Like, just from a few days ago to here, it's down 30%. Like, so yeah, I could pop up and be like, oh, it's up 50%. Okay. But I'm not going to do a full-size position when I know that if it just broke the low of this, that's 7% down. Like, a little tiny move is down 10%. Like, so my position in something like this would have to be like tiny, like less than 1% of my portfolio because of the beta. It's just crazy. Earnings is around the corner, so you're probably going to get an explosive move, right? Earnings bring up more volatility. I don't know if this even trades options. It trades options a little bit, yeah. Like a 19-cent move, I guess, when earnings comes, plus or minus 19 cents. So that's like, it can move literally about 50% in the next few days when earnings comes. Other LNG plant developer, one of the few approved U.S. projects. I'm underwater and thinking of cutting. Yeah, I don't know it. I don't know it enough. Like I said, earnings are around the corner. I'm not good with these type of names. Never have been. I'm now to the point where I just trade much more liquid names. I mean, this is it's liquid. It's very liquid. It's like there's a lot of shares being traded. It's just choppy. A lot of shares being traded, but it's also 50 cents a share. So I guess. Yeah, we can pull Meta back up. I mean, Meta got hit. You got to understand. So Meta, this was the expected move. We traded 2 standard deviations. We actually traded down all the way down to here last night after the earnings call. And now we're just seeing a little bit of a bounce back. This is totally normal. You see bounces back. And people are going to get super excited, but if you have breaks like this, you got to wait for the consolidations and go from there. I took a stab at it. I took a stab down here at 412. I took a small position though, because I knew that volatility was I took a very small position. Like very small. Like I don't mind getting out of it now or just holding it. I really don't care if it comes and stops me out because it's that tiny. But yeah, now it's just consolidating. It's digesting its move. And you know what? It'll probably move more on the back of Google and Microsoft. If Microsoft and Google get a nice big report, I bet you Meta moves with it, right? S&P 500 still kind of just floating around that 50-65 where that contracts is at. Digesting that move. Or above that 50-25. Are they reaching further out yet? They're still not really reaching further. So coming back into 50-25 or around this area makes sense to me still. Market net flow is getting a little bit more positive, but there's still a bearish divergence. No convergence, which means you can have counter trend moves to the upside.
A partnership with Abu Dhabi to establish electric air taxi ecosystems. Juliet Oscar Bravo Yankee.
Elite Wave saying pins is the best covered call stock. Cool. I wouldn't know. INTC. Yeah, INTC. INTC looks like a nice little setup here on the 15-minute time frame. We have earnings though. So coming back above the 5-day moving average, it's kind of turning itself. Looking at the daily time frame, obviously it's been hit down significantly and it's kind of breaking this downtrend. And then today we have this inside trading candle. So price is contracting as we're breaking that little downtrend. The unfortunate thing is you have an earnings expected move of $2.41. You know, so that's roughly, I already drew it out, I think. Yeah. So if I go like this, you know, it's a very binary move. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. You can tell me what the earnings are going to be. I still wouldn't know.
On their conference call saying that they need to increase revenue production to offset inflation.
Tesla was at the lows for the year, and it was a bad earnings report, and it gapped up. IBM or Intel's at the lows of the year. Maybe it gaps up. You know, it's too binary. I can't. You know, if I'm just looking at this right now, this looks cool. I mean, this looks to me like, you know, the 5-day moving average is starting to turn around here. You have a, you know, higher low building into this kind of like pivot area. It's contracting. And then I look at this, like we're above the volume shelf over here. There's really no volume here. I mean, this kind of opens the door to come up to like 35.60, maybe even up here to the value line. You know, it looks cool. It looks good, but then you got earnings. So JD, I haven't seen JD for a moment here. I'll look at JD moving. JD's back up there at the 200-day. Nice little consolidation there, breaking out. I would prefer to see this move consolidated. But you do have the shorter term, medium term averages starting to turn back up here. And you could potentially look at this, like, you can look at this, kind of get sticky up around 29-ish area right here. Potentially look at like, oh, it's an inverse head and shoulder pattern. I'm a fan of some of these Chinese names. They've been looking good. Like K-Web made a big comeback there. FXI, probably the same situation. Nice big move there, right? We were talking about it over here. And then it kind of consolidated here and again and broke out further. Now I'd be waiting for the consolidation again.
CFO saying that their R&D could increase slightly on a year-over-year basis.
Higher low, yeah. Nice. Yeah, but they're looking pretty good. I like seeing the strength. Hey, Trader Joe, what is your Twitter? Because I got a couple ads from Trader Joe, and I thought I was following yours, but I couldn't. Then somebody else it was the same thing, but a different thing. So I was like, dude, who? I couldn't tell which one's you. I'm pretty sure I know which one. But another one added me, and I'm like, wait a second. Or do you have two? Okay, that's the one that I follow. Okay. Yeah, there's another one that added me. I don't know who that is. Imposter. Or just another Trader Joe. All right. I think you're right about that. Yeah, I think it was the other one in the Twitch channel. All right, market net flow, still not giving us much here. We're back to and around the daily expected move and roughly around the 5-day moving average, making a little bit of a comeback here. Not quite back to the week-to-date anchored VWAP. Let's take a look at the 11 sectors that make up the S&P 500, see if there's anything going on here. We have XLB in the green, energy in the green. I'm not putting in order. I don't trade here. Utilities in the green here too as well. Where's all my other 11 sectors? Oh yeah, I deleted them on accident. Dude, I swear, man. I press the wrong button on these things and it just like totally throws my whole stuff off. All right, so let me see here. So we have XLU, XLE, XLB, XLI. Am I missing XLI? I think I'm missing XLI. XLI is flat. Yeah, so I missed XLI. Do I have XLP? XLP, XLRE, got XLRE, XLY. I can't see it, so I'll just type it in. Now I have XLY, XLV, got XLV, XLF, got XLF, XLK, got it, XLC, got it. Okay, there. The 11 sectors that make up the S&P 500, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go ahead and minimize this so you can see them. Boom, here we go. A lot of people like to see the Tesla. I always remember there's people coming in. Yeah, so utilities is a defensive sector, and this thing keeps going. It's also rate sensitive, right? Rate sensitive sector, but also defensive. Same like consumer staples, and consumer staples is what? Flat on the day. Consumer staples making a big comeback though. It's sitting roughly at around the highs of the year. Industrials came off. Materials I still kind of like. This tight contraction over here. Hey man, I'll take it. Happen to be the one that's so far it's up on the day. And then energy and utilities making its run. IWM is down 1.2% on the day. Just a lot of volatility up in here. You'd think small caps in this kind of reflationary potential environment, small caps could be a potential play. So I'm gonna keep an open mind to small caps. Sorry, I'm covering my mouth there. Spider-Man meme.
Under about 20 minutes or so, we'll see the results of today's 7-year note auction. U.S. Treasury yields remain elevated.
This can move markets,
people.
people.
Was above 5%, currently 4.99% in the 2-year.
Yeah, Tesla to me is
Just note the Supreme Court has now finished hearing arguments on the Trump immunity case.
So as I'm in my Cybertruck here,
reportedly weary of broad Trump immunity.
My robotaxi.
Extend the fight.
Yeah, I don't see the immediate like why everyone's so pumped up about this gap up on Tesla. Like if you're really celebrating this, like have you just been down all year and you're like get a little bit of a move and you're that excited, or like did you actually trade down here and then like that's why you're excited? That would make more sense to me. But even if you like bought here, it's like you're flat. Like we literally gapped up to where we were 6 or 7 trading days ago. And we're still in a pretty big downtrend. So to me, it's like, I don't understand why everyone's super pumped about this. It's like almost like they need to be pumped or they needed this to happen because they're underwater. Like that doesn't make much sense to me. I think it's a step in the right direction, seeing bad news, I guess, bad news on bad earnings, and then it gaps up. But also it's like the trend is still down. There's still a lot more time that needs to be made like to make up for this. I mean, look at it. So I don't know. I think it's a little too early to tell for me. I think that I think we called out the trend line, man. The trend line that made sense to me was right here. This low from the pandemic to this one right here. We did that live and we're like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it came right into this level and it started bouncing from these levels. Then you have the MACD on the weekly histogram kind of turning up. You potentially can see this turn around. And then I guess you go, okay, okay. Where can we bounce to? Well, this is a respected trend to the downside.
Will not tolerate underperformance of any kind.
So perhaps, I mean, if we get some crazy move, yeah, maybe come back. Oh my goodness.
Currently building a buffer stock and inventory.
Perhaps you go back up to this 200, maybe. I mean, that's a possibility because you also see a pretty sharp trend line right here, like this. You know what I'm saying? So you get this gap down on the week, follow through to the upside. Potential bullish reversal on an area of support on bad earnings. Maybe it sparks a rally, comes back up to around 200, breaks out of this little wedge. But even then, you got to look at like, okay, we'll respect the trend lines. And if it wants to go boom, 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 boom and tighten up here, cool. Let's set something up. On the daily time frame, we're just consolidating right now. We're just inside trading day. Now, when you get bullish moves like this, it's in a downtrend, but you could typically get continuation to the upside. It's more than normal. I prefer to see a little bit more bullish environment, but you could still get, continuation. So maybe if it tightens up, maybe it'll offer up a nice little risk to reward pop there. S&P 500 still holding roughly highs of the trading session. We doing it, people. We coming back. Woo! Coming back to the lower daily expected move. Coming back into the safe place. Alrighty, let's see here. Other kind of names we got going on. All right, so we now have about 830 contracts up here at 50.65, rounding up. And we still have these supported bids beneath us here. So I mean, that's not a bad sign. As that's happening, market net flow not giving us much here, but we still have no convergence, which is where we talked about you can get the counter trend moves. We've been getting that. Is anybody reaching out further here on the 0 date? Still, no, not really. So we're about $7 from that 50.25 level right here. If we start pressing higher, we can take a look at 50.40 and then potentially 50.50. As the market settles in and gets ready for the big earnings.
Southwest CEO on their call saying further capacity reductions in 2024 and 2025 create additional headcount and efficiency challenges.
NQ at the highs of the trading session here too as well. Been outside of its opening range for the bulk of the trading session despite seeing a gap down. I don't know what this anchor view up is. I'm going to remove that. Oh. 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 We going back to the daily expected move? Still up on the week. We're back to the 5-day moving average. It's flat to neutral. It's not a bad sign. Still under the swing low anchored VWAP and still under week to date anchored VWAP there too as well. Is the market really going to get hammered on these earnings? I don't know. I have a hard time believing that it's going to get beat up on Google and Microsoft. But then again, you never know. Could just be flagging. Could just be flagging here. I'm not interested to short any of this stuff. I'm not interested to short it. I'm not really interested to be too pressed long here, given the context of just how much volatility we're seeing. Yeah, we'll take a look at General Mills. Is GIS, right? GIS is General Mills. Just, I think. A lot of these consumer staple stocks are starting to see some strength, which is nice. We're back above 200-day moving average. You're getting these like crossovers, 50 days turning up, the 200 still declining. I don't like chasing up into these levels after a strong move, right? After strong moves, I don't really like to chase. But if it consolidates and these start to turn up more, and then it could potentially reset up for trades, I like that type of stuff. A lot of consumer staples are they're finding some strength. They've been basing for a long time. Procter & Gamble's one that's been just kind of ripping. What's Sprouts? Sprouts, right? SPR, is that? No. SFM. SFM has been looking really good. Earnings is around the corner for SFM. Look at this thing. Bullish earnings gap, consolidated for a while, and now look how tight it's getting over here. I mean, this looks bullish to me. Earnings is around the corner. Bullish context, bullish looking chart. What's up, Ken? Ian? Craig, you think the market's going to pop up, pop down? Like pop, explode down? Or pop to the upside? GE? Do I like it? Yeah, GE is crazy. I wouldn't suggest chasing up here.
Saying they are planning
Issuing a
more
new position.
voluntary leave and time off
Give me a second.
overall. Rubric opening at 38.60, priced at 32. Romeo Bravo Romeo Kilo.
All right, I'm back. I'm gonna have to hop off soon. Watching the keto. Yeah, so GE. I don't like establishing new positions after strong moves like this, but I mean, in the shorter time frame, you get this earnings move, powerful earnings gap again, and then now it's consolidating and tightening up here too. You have an inside trading day, another inside trading day today. So to think that this is going to be the all-time high forever is probably unlikely. We'll probably go retest that and press higher. So there's opportunities within these type of trades here too. Bam, bam, bam. Darren, the Patreon stuff. Patreon.com/figuring out money. Or you can just click the link in any of my YouTube videos. I have a link there too. You can check it out. That's the Patreon. I don't post anything in Patreon. It's all in the Discord, so you have to sync Discord up there after. It honestly looks like we're going to take out 50.65 here, people. You kind of have this liquidity being... This liquidity kind of stepping up here, and we're just like trying to fill, right? Looks like it wants it. Looks like it wants to go for it. Okay. Holy moly. Got bombarded with things. Bombarded. How's everyone doing today? Anybody trading? I agree with that, Trader Joe. Yeah. When we start to get like that whole QE back, yeah. Because they're like in phase, like we'll take an end phase or whatever. Solar names, like it's just like Tesla, man. They thrive off of zero rate policies. High, like zero, like they're high debt. So when interest rates are higher, it's not typically good. When rates are cheap, or when money's cheap, these things could fly. So yeah, when there's a flip there, these names can be ones to watch for sure. End phase, it looked like it came down to its lower earnings expected move. Well, recently. It didn't report earnings that day, but... All right, people. It looks like we're going to fill this right here. Let's eat it up. Yep, absolutely.
Airbus CEO saying that 12 per month rate on the A350 is a supply-demand balance.
Just got some intel on PFE. Cool. There's the pop there. The buy stop pop. Chomp, chomp, chomp up that liquidity. Getting a little bit more added overhead now, 50.70. Still being some support down beneath us. Yep, there's some added overhead. Coming back into the week to date anchored VWAP and the swing low anchored VWAP. Market's moving fairly nicely back into its expectations for the day. Still floating around the lower daily expected move. I'm sure people are super pumped right now, but it's still down about 0.7% on the day as we're coming into earnings. Big dog earnings. Making back some of those losses. It's always a nice feeling. 50.25, are they still reaching out further? Coming into about 50.40. Are they reaching? Still not. No, not really. They're really not. Kind of up in this area, but still 50.25 is... 50.25, if we pull back in, this could act more of a level of support now. 5100 is the call wall on 0 date. Net gamma. 5100, all right. 50.50. Coming into 50.40. Look at all this support beneath us. They're adding here. Kind of both sides. I want to take a look at Meta because I have a position there now. Yeah. Yay. All right, let's take a look at the 11 sectors that make up the S&P 500. Utilities is leading the way still. Then XLB. Then XLE. What's really moving this market here is we're seeing a bounce off of some of these S&P 100 larger market cap names off the lows. So we're at the highs of the trading session for Microsoft. Apple, we're near the highs of the trading session for there. NVIDIA, we're up 3.37%, well off the lows of today's trading day. Google, well off the lows. So these moves is really helping this market come back right now. It is being led by tech in the shorter term, but it doesn't mean that's the most top performing sector now. And then we have Amazon also well at the highs of the trading session, well off the lows. Meta, same thing. We're not too far off the highs of the trading session, but well off the lows. We have the 7-year auction on its way here. Who knows what that's going to bring? The 7-year auction is coming.
Just saying that they're in the beginning the process on the Spirit Air Systems
at 10 a.m. 2 minutes until the 7-year note auction, ladies and gentlemen. Is this going to help pop this market back up to the weekly expected move? Is it going to do nothing, or is it going to sink us right back down? My estimate is I don't really have one. Alrighty, but we'll take a look. Let's do this. A Q, a K, a Q, Q, cow. Market net flow is trying to get bullish here. Really almost no divergence. We've lost convergence over here where we say we can have counter moves, and we've had that counter move the entire time. All right, we got about 30 seconds until the 7-year note auction. We'll see if that brings in any volatility. Volatility.
Airbus expects delivery profile to be backloaded toward the second half of the year.
I'd have to take a look at that, yeah. Yeah, we got PCE still out tomorrow. We got big earnings. Anything could happen right now. We can be literally right back to the weekly expected move, or even above it. All right, here comes the timing.
We got the upcoming 7-year note auction.
Here it comes.
$44 billion. The 7-year yield when issued at 4.716%.
Oh. Matcha. Oh no, Coco's crying. She's getting margin called. She's like, I should have covered.
Denison AVY raising its quarterly dividend 9% to 81 cents a share, indicated yield 1.66%.
We getting the results yet or no? The results come in later.
Fisker FSR reportedly telling staff members that there are four automakers in talks to acquire.
Are we getting the results later on this?
According to press report, Franklin Sierra Romeo.
Yeah, it's still coming. We'll see.
7-year coming bid to cover 2.48 for the 7-year note auction. They draw 4.716%. Smack on the screws there in terms of yield. 35.06% allotted at the high. So a little bit better 7-year note auction demand seen today, coming in right on where the wind should have been trading. 2.48 bid to cover ratio.
Hey, Coco. Time to walk the dog. All right, let's see if bond market is doing anything. We'll just look at ZB or something like that. ZB. Oof.
Petrobras PBR, the Brazilian government reportedly proposing Petrobras to pay 50% of extra dividends.
Ten-year yield is off the highs, but man, this thing looks like it's just consolidating sideways, to be honest. So far, nothing burger. Nothing burger. Cool. Alrighty. All right, guys, we're right now, gals, we're right back to and around the week-to-date anchored VWAP of the week. We're trading roughly at the swing low, anchored VWAP. Seeing a nice little bit of reflexive bounce into the daily expected move, held above the 2 standard deviation move here on the S&P 500 for the SPY, and we kind of keep pressing higher here. Market's doing fine. As we head into the earnings, everything looks decent. The leading categories, once again, in the S&P 500, we have utilities leading the way, then materials, then industrials, then energy. But we do have intraday tech leading the way. If I take a look here at advancers, decliners, this move is moving up, but yet we still have many declining names over advancing names. Just they're well off the lows. Okay, so if I go to the heat map, you'll see there's a lot of red on the screen. Right? Obviously a lot of red on the screen, but they're coming well off those lows. So that's what's really helping this kind of market press up higher. Then we have the big ones reporting after the bell, of which is Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft is looking roughly at a $21 expected move. So be aware, man. Like if we saw this type of action on this mecha cap name down to the downside, if we open down here, this could bring a lot of pressure. If we open up here, that could be a lot of, or come tomorrow or come up here, it's, it would be good stuff. So 21 is roughly a little bit higher there. I'm going to be signing off for the day. This is the expected move roughly right here. 21 plus or minus $21 as it stands. Plus or minus $20, $21. Microsoft, Google reporting after the bell. Google was plus or minus $9.11. So pretty much right around here at 164.50 or down here at 147. These are going to be some big ones that can move the market, both in a positive light or a negative light. So be very careful there. Then come tomorrow after today's trading session in the early morning, we have ourselves core PCE data coming out an hour before the market opens up. That's all I got for you on today's trading session, trading live. Be careful, be safe out there. I got to get going because I have some stuff I need to do. Alrighty, everybody. Alrighty then. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Till next time, I will be here. Most likely, actually, I'll be here probably tomorrow, to be honest. Okay. Be here probably tomorrow. Alrighty. Signing off. Be careful, be safe, everyone. Later.